Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today's video was brought to us by returning Patreon supporter Michael. Huge thanks to Michael and the rest of my Patreon supporters. Michael reached out asking for a Titania deck, and I was more than happy to rise to the challenge. Also, and I know it's annoying to keep hearing this, but statistically if I don't ask you to like and subscribe, the video gets fewer subscribers. Now, there are 3 different printings of Titania, and Michael wanted to have any of them be in the command zone. Let's take a look at each of them and then try to figure out what kind of deck we would need to build. Titania Voice of Gaia is a 3-mana 3/4 legendary elemental with reach. Whenever 1 or more land cards are put into our graveyard from anywhere, we gain 2 life. Additionally, at the beginning of our upkeep, if there are 4 or more land cards in our graveyard, and we own and control both Titania Voice of Gaia and a land named Argoth Sanctum of Nature, we exile them and then meld them into Titania Gaia Incarnate. Titania Gaia Incarnate is a legendary elemental avatar with vigilance, reach, trample, and haste. She also has power and toughness equal to the number of lands we control. Additionally, when she enters, we return all land cards from our graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Finally, we may pay 4 mana in order to put 4+1/+1 counters on target land we control. It then becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste, but is still a land. Next up, Titania Protector of Argoth is a 5-mana 5/3 legendary elemental. When she enters the battlefield, we return a land card from our graveyard to the battlefield. Additionally, whenever a land we control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, we create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. Finally, Titania Nature's Force is a 6-mana 6/6 legendary elemental. She allows us to play forests from our graveyard. Whenever a forest enters under our control, we create a 5/3 green elemental token. Finally, whenever an elemental we control dies, we may mill 3 cards. Okay, so all the Titanias care about lands, and they either turn lands into elementals, or create elementals when lands come into play. So we want ways to put lands in our graveyard, ways to bring back lands from our graveyard, and ways to play extra lands per turn. But before we get to our deck list, a quick word from our sponsor, Ultimate Guard. In addition to deck boxes and sleeves, Ultimate Guard also makes this beautiful mat pod. My issue with pods has always been the shape. I keep expecting them to roll off the table. But this one, with its ingenious shape, doesn't roll, at least very far. If you're tired of your mats getting damaged when they're stuffed in your backpack, consider picking up a mat pod from your local game store, or click on the link down below to visit Ultimate Guard's Amazon store. In order to build a functional commander deck, you need lots of different pieces, which is why I try to rely on my handy-dandy checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Oh, one more quick announcement before we get started. I'm going to be streaming on Musings by Danon as well as Twitch. It'll mostly be Final Fantasy XIV, but you're more than welcome to pop in and talk about Commander. Honestly, about half my streams are spent talking about manga, anime, or Commander. Our lands consist of Argoth Sanctum of Nature, Verdant Catacombs, Wooded Foothills, Windswept Heath, Misty Rainforest, Boseiju Who Endures, Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, Glacial Chasm, Lotus Field, Rogue's Passage, Wasteland, Talon Gates of Madara, Blast Zone, War Room, Strip Mine, Urza's Cave, and 18 Forests. Not too shabby. For mana ramp, we're running Lumra Bellow of the Woods, Ancient Green Warden, Invasion of Zendikar, Lotus Cobra, Druid Class, Crop Rotation, Harrow, Exploration, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, Burgeoning, Azusa Lost But Seeking, Roiling Regrowth, Entish Restoration, Springbloom Druid, Oracle of Moldiah, Perennial Behemoth, Ramming Up Excavator, Scapeshift, Crucible of Worlds, and Conduit of Worlds. One of my favorite ways to ramp is fetch lands, combined with the ability to play lands from the graveyard, and extra lands every turn. For card advantage, we've got Bramble Familiar, Courser of Crufix, Eternal Witness, Augur of Autumn, Worldly Tutor, Archdruid's Charm, Return of the Wildspeaker, Smuggler's Surprise, Bala Ged Recovery, Tribute to the World Tree, Spelunking, Sylvan Library, Abundance, and Disciple of Freyalise. Gotta find our win con somehow. For interaction and spot removal, we're running Titania's Command, Beast Within, Reclamation Sage, Heroic Intervention, Constant Mists, Return to Nature, Ram Through, Broken Wings, and Force of Vigor. Can't let our opponents get too far ahead. For board wipes, we're running Nylea's Intervention and Nevinyrral's Disc. Not a lot of options in green, but these will do the trick. The core of our deck consists of Staff of Titania, Avenger of Zendikar, Rumbleweed, Ashaya Soul of the Wild, Greensleeves Marrow Sorcerer, Multani Yavamaya's Avatar, Springheart Nantuko, Scute Swarm, Zendikar's Royal, Rampaging Baloths, Ulvenwald Hydra, Oran Reef Hydra, Cultivator Colossus, and Quarian Ranger. Supporting our plan, we've also got Sylvan Safekeeper, Root Path Purifier, and Zapandrel Hunger Dominus. Gotta close out the game somehow. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 57 mana sources split between 35 lands, 20 pieces of ramp, and 2 MDFCs. A little high, but we're a landfall deck, so it's fine. 10 pieces of card advantage, 9 pieces of interaction, 2 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate in Return to Nature and Titania's Command, 1 sudden I win card in Zapandrel Hunger Dominus. Our deck is designed to pump out as many creatures as possible. With a massive army of elementals and other tokens, having their power doubled by Zapandrel means our opponents die very quickly. But even if that weren't enough, we've got an insane number of combos. Let's talk about them. Glacial Chasm, plus the ability to play a land from the graveyard, plus the ability to play more than 1 land per turn, means we never take damage. We need something like Azusa Lost But Seeking on the battlefield, along with one of the Crucible of World effects we have in the deck. There are 4 for those counting. We play Glacial Chasm, sacrificing a land as it enters. During our next upkeep, we don't pay the upkeep trigger on Glacial Chasm, causing it to be sacrificed. We then use Crucible of Worlds to replay a land from our graveyard, then Glacial Chasm as our second land per turn, sacrificing the other land as it enters. This way, we prevent all damage dealt to us. Next up, we've got Cultivator Colossus with Abundance. This combo is gross. Not only can we put all land cards from our hand and library onto the battlefield, once they are on the battlefield, we can order our library any way we want. Tons of mana plus controlling our whole library? That's insane. Finally, we're running the combo of Ashaya Soul of the Wild with Quarian Ranger. We tap any non-token creature we control except for Quarian Ranger by tapping it and adding a green mana. We then activate Quarian Ranger by returning itself from the battlefield to our hand, untapping the creature that we had tapped for mana. Remember, Ashaya makes that creature a forest. We then use the mana we got from tapping the creature to cast Quarian Ranger. We do this an infinite number of times, triggering our landfall effects as many times as we want. Initially, I'd tried to keep the deck more budget, but Michael assured me that his playgroup doesn't have a problem with proxies, they just don't want a CEDH deck. And since all of his friends keep making stronger and stronger decks, he wanted something that would keep up. Do you have a Titania deck? What's your secret deck tech? leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cutestuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. You can have a video made or just ask for help building or tuning a deck list. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Danny, Muffins, Marcus, Brett, Roxy, Borgie, Nazwin, Midge, Alex, Conga, Aaron, Chris, Robert, Austin, William Pye, Turner, Triz, Kazera, Slack, Booksu, Patrick, Vox, Liam, Travis, Neffy, and Sean. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander Deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.